Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Eugene Honrath, and I've got Ryan Forbes from Coppershed here with Meet the Maker. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you, Eugene?
Good, man. Good. So, uh, you know, we kind of talked about this before we did the interview, and I mean, I know you and I could kind of like just talk about random subjects all day long.
Yeah.
But I think, trying to helping people get to know you a little bit better, and kind of what you do and what you offer and that kind of stuff is kind of going to be the goal. So tell me a little bit about you and Coppershed, and we can kind of go from there.
First, I want to say, Eugene, thank you for what you do, brother. I don't think people realize. Uh, I'm not going to sidetrack too long, but
No.
you do this for nothing, for the passion, man. You love this, and you believe in the small, homemaker
Oh yeah.
and American dream, baby. I appreciate you for what you do. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird thing. So the EDC custom wares community has done support wise, like done a lot for me. And then I have a passion for small business. I think that that's really what gets, um, if we're in this mess, quote unquote, I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what gets us out. And I think that's really the backbone. And I think people really forget that sometimes, but it's the backbone of the United States, period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why.
So,
Plus, I get to talk to and meet guys like you, and I see you guys at
yeah.
Blade, and it's awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. So my name is Ryan Forbes. I guess I grew up in Southern California
Okay.
till I was 20 years old, and I wasn't doing much with my life, and I never been anywhere else, and I wanted to go see the world. So I came to Ohio because I had an uncle who just retired from the military, moved out here, and he said, "You can stay with me while you get on your feet," and was only going to spend a few years, but come out here, loved it, man, met my wife, and now it's been 24 years, and I love it out here. But
So, but that's a pretty big change of pace from Southern California to Ohio.
yeah, yeah, and I love it here, man. It's people who only grew up here, and I'm sure most small towns or whatever, they think it's so much better somewhere else, and I get that.
Sure.
Sometimes you grow up and you want to stay or you want to go, and it doesn't matter where you grew up at. And but it's a lot nicer here than the people who have never left realize. I like it. So
And you guys,
smaller things,
you
slower
do
things.
do you live like city, suburban, rural?
Rural.
Okay.
We have 18 acres now,
Oh, nice.
which we just moved a year and a half ago for the business, actually. I went to get a permit for a bigger building on my property at our old place, and they had residential zoning. And so we decided to move, and we moved to a township with no zoning and
That's
land.
good.
No matter how big the company grows, you could have a huge business here and do whatever you want, basically. So.
It sounds like 18 acres suits you guys.
Yeah, we always wanted it, but you don't know if you're ever going to get it. And then
Yeah.
when we realized we couldn't grow our business at our old house, we were like, well, let's try and do that now. So we got 3 young boys. They love this land, and I'm so, of course, there's the word is happy, but there's more to it. But I'm just amazed that I can have my kids grow up here, So
Hey man, everything happens for a reason
yeah,
sometimes, I
yeah,
think I think sometimes things just you're presented with the path and they're like,
yeah,
okay, gotta go.
yeah, yeah.
So
We are definitely not procrastinators.
no.
If something comes up in our life, some people may be like, hey, okay, let's do this, pay off this, and in 3 years we'll make this move. We do not wait. I mean, we, do what we got to do now. We try to just get it going. And I'm glad
Yeah.
we did, because now we're already here a year, and now we can start on the next chapter of our lives. So it's good.
Do you guys have family like in the surrounding area, or is it just you guys?
My uncle who originally moved to Ohio, he's the first person from our family who migrated here. He still lives about an hour north of me, near Cleveland.
Oh, nice.
And my grandma since retired and moved out here. And
Yeah.
then my wife's from here, so all her family's from here. So
It's always
yeah,
good to have family around, you know?
yeah, yeah. But I still go
Um,
back to California once a year and visit my family.
oh,
So
okay, okay. And that's I'm sure that's a really big change even from 20 years ago from being there.
oh yeah, yeah. I did car audio my whole life basically, and low voltage electronics. So anything low voltage, you name it, camera systems, card access, intercoms, and then to cars, remote starts. That was my specialty. I
Yeah.
loved it. I used to make speaker boxes for the older kids in the neighborhood when I was 14, didn't even have a license. And that was my passion. And I did that my whole life until I started this in 2015.
How did
And
you
it was
how did
such a
you get
shock.
into low voltage stuff? Just
Well,
tinkering with things?
even at a young age, I don't know, 8 or so, my parents would leave the house and I'd take apart the VCR to look inside and see how it worked. And I'd put it back together before they got home. It was just in me, you know.
Yeah.
And then I started building subwoofer boxes for the older kids in the neighborhood, and then started doing car audio and stuff just for fun. And it didn't hit me till I was 20, though. I was like, what am I going to do? And then I was like, as I'm sitting there installing a stereo for someone in my driveway, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
can make
I
money
love
doing
this.
this.
And yeah. And then, and then over the years, after I was working at a shop, I taught myself cameras, card access, intercoms. I used to go to, if there was a rep for a camera company at our local supply store there visiting, I'd go, I'd soak up everything I could. And then the company I worked for, we started doing that. And we did commercial grade only, mostly though, schools,
Yeah.
things like that. We didn't really do residential, but um, I just loved it. And I thought I was going to do that the rest of my life. And I was completely fine with that. I was very content. This hit me out of nowhere, sideswiped me.
Yeah.
Uh, this crazy thing. Yeah.
Well, so tell me a little bit about your EDC custom wear. And I kind of closely put those two things because in my mind, there's no real, I mean, sure, you can have EDC without custom wears, but to me, they go kind of together. What's your story with EDC? Like, did you always carry things in your pockets, knives, pliers, stuff like that?
I think the same story with everyone. We all carried a pocket knife, but we didn't know about EDC or the EDC community. Same thing for pretty much everybody. You know how it is.
My dad used to carry like a little old timer.
Yeah.
And that's where we got the start. And then some like buck knives and then some
Yeah.
Swiss Army knives. And then it kind of went from there.
Yep. Yep. And I was big in the EDC community. Before I made anything ever, I was a collector, a customer, and I never even touched a drill press before. I never worked in a machine shop, nothing. I have people now call me and ask me for advice. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was never, it's not like I worked in a shop for a summer or did anything like that. And then in 2015, I don't know why, but I said, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to order some copper and make some keychains for Christmas for family and some friends. Nothing. I worked like 70 hours a week at my day
Yeah.
job. We
Yeah.
had a 3 and a 4-year-old boy at the time. Like my wife worked full time. It was, busy, nonstop, crazy. And she said, that's stupid. I don't know if she likes when I tell that story or not, but I said, I'm going to order some coffee. And she said, that's copper. And she said, that's stupid. I said, what do you mean? She goes, no, not that she goes, like, it's going to seem like you're cheap, make it a
Like
gift. I
cheap.
said,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
we'll still buy gifts. But so I ordered some copper. All I had was,
Well, hold on. Why not like brass or steel? What, like, it just kind of like was
man,
like
see, I don't know. I
universe.
can't remember what was going through my head that year. You know what I mean?
I,
About copper.
I
And
think
I'm not.
copper's one of those metals that, I mean, kind of a little bit with brass, but is one of those metals that has such a drastic difference between like antiqued and non-polished copper and polished copper. I
Yeah,
think it's one of those interesting metals in that way.
yeah, yeah,
So it grabs attention more than I think others do.
yeah. So I really don't know why that year. I mean, I wasn't in the EDC groups a lot, so there was copper flowing around.
Sure.
And then I made the keychains and posted up some pictures, and then people wanted to make some and stuff. Wanted me to make them some, and I'm like, I ain't got time for that. All I had was like a $15 little table vise from Harbor Freight, my cordless drill, and some hand files. That was it. I put a square thing of copper in the vise. I drawed lines on it, drew lines on it for like a tag, and cut it out with a little metal hacksaw and drilled a hole in it with my cordless drill and hand filed the chamfers. I got a stamp set, real cheap, and that's all I had. And so people were asking me to make them for them, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. I was telling people what to do, how to do it. And then, but me and my wife were talking. We're like, well, maybe I could work out in the shop a couple nights a week for fun. Buy a little drill press and a sander.
Was it fun when you started it? Like, did you actually see this as like, I like working with my hands, I like doing this type of thing?
Yes, complete fun. And just to sidetrack real quick, people will call me and say, hey, I want to make some extra money and do some EDC stuff. And right away, I'm like, that you can't go into it thinking making money. You just don't know. You know what I mean? And you really got to do it for fun. And that's it, and see what happens, But so going back to that, so I made a Facebook group in December of 15. And we had me and the boys, well, they were only 3 and 4, but, they hung out there. But we built a shed, and we decided to call it Copper Shed. And, I had some friends like, oh, you're going to limit yourself to copper. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Waffle House don't sell just waffles. Taco Bell don't sell just tacos. You can go on and on. I go, it's not going to limit me if I ever want to do other metals, And at the time, you don't know if a name's good or not. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
now, I love it. But
I think picking a name that you like connect with and I don't know. I kind of get a little like I want something that I feel good talking about and saying, and I connect with, as opposed to, well, this just fits the business case or whatever.
Yeah. So we made a group, Copper Shed, and I think we went and bought like $100 Craftsman tabletop drill press and $100 Craftsman. It was like the what is it, like an 8x36 belt sander with the round sander on the side.
Yep.
Horrible, but it was amazing for what I was using, And I was out there a couple nights a week for fun, and I would post pictures in my group. And, a month later, I was out there 3, 4 nights a week. It just, you know, it like took off basically, and it was awesome. And then it just grew pretty quickly, it felt like, for what we were doing. So mind you, I'd be on call for my company 24/7 for like a week on, a week off.
So they were just. I thought you worked for a car audio company.
So it's a lock. It was a lock and alarm. It's a long story there too, but it's a lock and alarm place. They started out in the '60s doing locksmithing, and they were the first company in our area who did house alarms. And then when a car alarm first came out back then, they were the first company to do car alarms because it all had to do with security.
Yep.
So that's how it sort of grew into cars and stuff, So they also did locksmithing. Like I said, we did alarms, cameras. Sometimes
so you were you were on call for like if someone gets locked out of their car.
That too, yeah. And that's something I learned while I was there.
Okay.
And I took on everything, So, but I'd get home from work and I'd be out there in the shop all night and then go to work, and I could do that and it was great and stuff, So, and then I remember, I want to say a year later into it, my phone rang one night. I remember, I think it was October Halloween party, and it was Todd Heater called me, and I was like a little starstruck, Todd Heater, why is he calling me? And I answered it, and he goes, hey man, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute, and I'm at a party or something, and he goes, when are you gonna go full time? And I was like, I'll never go full time. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I've been at my company for 14 years at the time, and I'll never leave there. What are you talking about? He goes, oh, you'll leave there and this and that. You'll do it. I was like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, he's crazy, And then sure enough, I don't remember the exact timeline of the years go by. I mean, maybe another year, and then me and my wife did start thinking about it, right? Which was the craziest idea ever, to go full time.
Was it a so I can have more time, or was it to make was it to like, man, this is really making us money, or I can make more money if I have more time?
It wasn't neither of those really, because to go from a steady paycheck,
sure,
from a company that's been around a long time.
Oh yeah.
It was more of the fact that I have this opportunity, and if I don't give it a shot, I'm going to regret it forever. And
a lot of people toil over that for a really long time.
So we did 9 months. Me and my wife, 9 months. We're discussing it, making pros and cons lists, and how scary. We had a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old. We had our mortgage, and we also, which we didn't have a lot of money, but we've done a lot of crazy financial things that smart people wouldn't have done, So like, we had our first house. Out here, houses are cheap. So our first house was like 50 grand. And when we moved to our next house, when we first had kids, we decided to keep the first house and rent it out. And we didn't even have no savings, How crazy is that? And we still had a mortgage on it. So anyways, I did all the repair work between everything else. And we thought, oh, it'll be paid off when we retire and then we'll have extra income, whatever.
Hold on. So Pete makers call Ryan to ask him about like doing things. I remember one time I called Ryan in this very place talking about renting, like, hey, I got this issue and I'm renting, and I heard you say something about being a renter and you seem like a really cool guy. Like, here's some questions that I have.
Yeah.
It's because it's a learning process. That's a learning process, but that's a good move.
Yeah, and we weren't making money on it. People think if you're a landlord, you make money, but not when you own a mortgage. You know,
Not
like
always.
it
Yeah.
was more of like we made $100, $200 a month, but it was if we retire and it's paid off, that's when you'll make money. But anyways, so we had a lot to lose. Two
Yeah.
mortgages, the kids, taking care of the kids. So very, very scary move. Didn't have a savings, like, you know, and but at the end of the 9 months, I was like, the feeling overwhelmed me that if I don't try this, I would rather try and fail,
Right.
you know, and instead of live with the regret. So we decided to do it. Now I went in, I gave my boss a year notice. And that's because I was the only, there was 4 guys there, but I was the only one who did the electronics. And I knew he always took care of me. It was a small family business. It wasn't like a big company who wasn't going to miss me, And so I gave him a year notice because I knew he was going to have to find someone and hire them.
That's some good shit, man.
Oh yeah, we're
that's
still friends, and he says I always have a job there, and he was real impressed. And he knew. He goes, I'd try to get you to stay, but I already know you have a plan, So he was real cool about it. And he said, as a boss, it sucks, but as a friend, he goes, I would do the same thing. And he was proud of me, So
yeah.
it was a good deal. But again, scary. Oh my gosh, so scary those times. And we still do scary stuff all the time, but we just keep working hard and, don't stop, don't give up. So
So you started out with keychains,
yep.
and how and people can look into what you reel what look at we'll have your links to all your social media and stuff like that, but how you've progressed from like keychains into pry bars, you've done knives. Tell me about a little bit about that progression.
I mean, I knew from the beginning I was going to get into bottle openers and pries because I collected them already for years in the EDC community, but I just had to work up to that. But it went pretty quick. I mean, like I think I started my group December 23rd in 2015, and within a month, I made my first bottle opener. Like it went pretty quick. And then of course prize and stuff like that, and then I think maybe about a year afterwards, I came up with a knife design and wanted to start making knives. The knives, so I have two, let's say mid-tech designs, but I machine them here and everything. But my handmade knives, I've probably only done total like maybe 12, 15.
Okay.
And they're taking me 40 to 50 hours a knife. Like, if I was a full-time knife maker, I know guys who do a knife in 3 hours, start to finish. Beautiful. But I could do that with a bottle opener out of copper. Like, I know exactly what I need to do to get it to how I want it to look and everything. And the knives take me a lot longer. So I don't do a lot of knives still because of that. The speed will come over time, but that's not how I do it. I'm gonna sit there and sand. Oh, I don't like that. Sand, and I end up spending tons of time. So those I sort of do more for fun here and there. Here's one I just finished. One of my complete handmade ones.
Oh, nice.
I do a freehand hollow grind, which I'm not the best at, but that one's CPM 3V with some voodoo resin scales. So, but I don't consider myself a knife maker, believe it or not.
Do you have the first knife you ever made? Like, is there like a first knife?
There is the Genesis Tanto. I mean, I don't have it.
No, yeah, but you sold it.
Oh yeah, I sold it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I have like practice pieces out of mild steel somewhere, rusting in a drawer that I was practicing, profiling and grinding on and stuff like that. But I really don't consider myself a knife maker. It's just something I dabble in. Like when people ask, I say I'm not a knife maker. I've made some knives, but their skill is way off the charts compared to mine on knives, you know.
What's the first, I hate that word mid-tech, but what's the first like production type knife that wasn't just a one-off? What is it called? What's it called? Okay.
So this one's the Element Tanto, and it's a 1/4-inch thick CPM 3V, and this one's got the removable bottle opener pry in the handle. That was the design I thought of at the end of 2016. So
That's unique. You don't see that around at all. Now, so we have Blade Show coming up in June, the world's largest knife show.
yeah.
How many knives will you come with? I mean, you're not a knife maker. You don't see that as, will you come and sell some knives, or you don't know?
Yeah, every Blade Show, I make sure I do. You know, it might vary somewhere between 3 and 8. You know, not a lot. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, it's a small percentage of what I do. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, 99% of my business now is custom bottle openers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're in the current bottle opener is called the Juggernaut.
No, actually, the Magneto would be, well, I've been coming out with a lot of new stuff lately, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
the Chungus I just designed like a week ago and just did my first drop on those. Here is the Juggernaut, though.
And that one you can put different stuff on it.
Correct. So you can, and I make them out of titanium, copper, brass, sometimes zirconium, Damascus, you know, Mokume. And you can also unbolt the pry edge and put on a slingshot attachment. So it becomes a slingshot then.
Did that just kind of like come to you while you were working, or?
So for some reason, I wake up in the middle of the night and I get these ideas and I hurry up and put it in my phone before I fall back to sleep. And a lot of times I'll wake up the next day and I'll go out there and make it by hand like a prototype.
Yeah.
Like I'm all excited. And for some reason in the middle of the night, I'll like wake up or something and think of something, but I'm half asleep. So I'll forget it if I don't hurry up and give myself a note in my phone.
They say a lot of creativity happens in our dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's some, that's my snake hook bottle opener. That one's got a built-in pocket clip and designed to hook your keys to. This is one of my popular designs, the skull key bottle opener.
That's awesome.
That
Yeah,
one's
tell me a little bit about the skull key and where that came from, and then because there's like a knuck version and that kind of stuff.
Well, the skull key is its own separate design, but then I got my Ched head, which is a bottle opener, but also like a knuck version. And you know, actually, the skull key. Again, I worked at a locksmith shop too, which we did electronics, and I thought, oh, I want to do an old style key, but with a skull head. And that's where that came from. I think I made my first one as just a keychain with no bottle opener in January of 16. And then it progressed from there, you know. So
yeah. I mean, I love the different designs that I see coming out, and it seems that you're taking one design and then doing a lot of different treatments to it. Different metals, different like anodization and stuff like that. Are you just trying to like use as many different techniques, or is it just kind of following the design path? Because not many EDC guys or makers have that breadth of treatments and different things that they do. Is that a strength, or is that kind of just something that you feel like you have to do, or?
It's a strength. I'm glad I do it. I do feel like and not knocking the guys who do this, but they may drop a bottle opener and that's it. It's just
One looks
one
exactly the
finish.
same.
You know what I mean? And I usually drop them with 10 different metal work finishes and patinas I do. They can get it customized a little more for them. I mean, first, I make everything, which we can go along the process of where I'm at now. But right now, I do everything in house. I don't outsource nothing, and so it's small batches.
Yeah.
About 50%, more than 50% of my designs, I still completely hand make. I mean, I cut it out on the bandsaw, drill the holes, but then my machine designs, which I had to switch to because I couldn't keep up, and everybody was bad back then. But
you need to get those kids to work.
yeah, but we bought our first CNC machine 2.5 years ago, and we bought our second one 1.5 years ago. So I do everything in house. So even though it's a machine, I hand sand every single piece of that off the machine, even if they get wrong.
Right.
And then there's small batches because I'm working here by myself in my small shop. So they're still getting a small batch made from home, and then you have different finishes. So you get a finish. Now there's even less of it there like it. And I think they love that, and I would never stop doing that at this point. It's become a staple.
How do you manage that in terms of like workflow through the shop if they're all kind of a little bit different?
As far as the finishing?
Well, like just making sure that, like, do you just take the one piece and then you bring that to your vision and then you move on to the second piece and the third piece and so on and so forth? Like, how do you, because I feel in my brain, it has to be like very uniform, and that creativity definitely could add time on and just make it the process more difficult.
Oh no, it does. Like, so there's days when I wish I could just sell them as is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I hand sanded all the edges. They're raw, ready to go. I'd love to just give them to my wife to package and ship and be done. But just some days. It's not all the time. I mean, I love what I do, So basically what I do, which we'll get into more of it maybe, but whatever I make throughout each week goes up for sale on my Facebook group every Sunday afternoon. When the sales are done, so let's say I put up 20 skull keys and they're all raw copper.
Yep.
They say in, then I message all 20 of those people and ask them how they want it finished. And then I write it all down, and then I come out to my shop and I try to work late every Sunday night to do all those finishes. And then my wife will stay up late Sunday night. That's like besides normal work, making stuff all week, that's like our day, And then she'll get them all packaged up and labeled Sunday night, and they're in the mail Monday morning. So there are times Sunday night, I may be a little tired and have to do this, but I want to change none of it. I love it, and it works.
Do you have a lot of repeat customers?
Yes. Yeah. If I ever went a week without either a repeat customer or a new customer, I would probably get worried. So, and that's never happened, in 8 years. Every week there's new customers, even if it's, 1 or 2 or 3, that's a awesome thing to me, but most of it is repeat, of course,
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I've had members in there since that beginning, 2015, and they're still around.
Yeah. You have some dedicated guys in that Facebook group that love what you do, and they are waiting for the new thing.
Yeah.
So
they're awesome.
You do these, I see the creativity and all the finishes and all the different designs and stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about these art pieces that do you do one of those a week, or am I describing it right?
Yeah, so what I do is I could make 30 to 50 pieces a week that are straight sale price. This is the sale price. They go up for sale. I make just one piece a week that's an auction, just a 1 hour auction. I recommend this for makers, and this is why, especially makers who do books only, they are stuck making all the time what the customer wants. And you don't have your creative juices flowing. So I take a day a week for my auction piece, and it is fun to me. Listen, sometimes I lose money. You know, I could have $300 in Makume on it, and and a day's work, and it goes for 300. I mean, to me, it's not about the money. That piece there, that piece is I come out to my shop that day, whichever day I decide that week is going to be my auction piece, and I just look. I have no plans every week. I look around the shop. I may see a piece of metal there, a piece of wood there, and I just make whatever I want, you know, how I want it. And that's how a lot of things have come to designs too, you know, like I made a clock one day, I made a
Yeah.
pen holder one day, and just whatever I have, whatever I want to do, that one day definitely keeps my creative juices flowing. It is fun, and I don't ever count the hours or the material costs. I mean, I know it's like I just said,
In your brain a little
but
bit, yeah.
I'm not like that piece is fun.
Yeah.
And even if I lost money on it every week, I'm still gonna do it.
So it just kind of
And
breaks up the monotony
yeah,
a
yeah.
little
And
bit.
then also, you know, you have customers, you know, some people don't like raffles, some people don't like auctions. Well, some do, you know.
Oh,
It's
some
like
love it.
buying a lottery ticket, a raffle. They'll go buy
Yeah.
a lottery ticket for $1 and lose. So you could also do that in knife groups and stuff like that. Or some people don't like auctions. Well, I only do one out of, you know, 30 to 50 pieces. And there's some people who want to get in on auctions, and that's it. But that part isn't the biggest deal to me, but on their end, they like it. There's a lot of customers who like it. But I have a lot of fun doing that piece every week. And I highly recommend, if you're stuck in books and that's all you're allowed to do over and over, at some point you could change it up where you say, hey, I'm doing my books, but I'm going to do one piece a week, one piece a month outside the books. So you can't get mad when this goes in front of you, because that's my plan.
You know who started doing that, and I think that you could see, I could tell a little difference personally is Eric Luther.
Yeah.
He'll
Great
do
guy,
like
by the way.
he'll just like step away from his books and do one piece here
Mhm.
and there, and there's other advantages to that as well. Do
Yeah.
you do custom pieces for people?
So since no, not right now.
Okay.
I used to do that. First off, I used to do that when I began, and boy, other makers can relate, but what a mess, especially when you're new and you just take all the ins, and then all of a sudden you got notebook full of names, and it takes you a year to get through. Now, I never took no money, and I still don't. But even without no deposits down and no promises, I still had this list of 100 names over my shoulder for a year. And that is stressful on a maker,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's very stressful. But then, you know, and I used to do a lot of finish work for other makers constantly. They'd send me a box of 30 bottle openers. I'd finish them, ship them back out. When we had our third boy 3 years ago, I had to shut it all down. It's crazy here. So I shut down all my finished work for other makers for the most part, any customs. And now I can't do any customs anyways, because if I've had to turn down 5 people a day for 3 years, you know how mad they'd be if I just told someone, yeah. So I've been telling everyone for 3 years that when I am ready to do custom orders again, now from my experience, I learned I will make a post in the group saying, hey, next Tuesday at 3 p.m., I'm going to make a post, and the first 3 ins get on the custom order list. That's it. Close it. And then I do those. And then when those are done, if I'm ready for another 3, I'll make another post. I'm not going to let it get out of hand, because even though, like I said, you're not taking money, that's weighing on you heavily.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, and I don't ever. Sometimes my wife will say it sounds like I'm complaining or something, but I'm not. I'm just trying to explain. But sometimes people don't understand what we go through,
sure,
and it is very hard. And a lot of makers have come and gone because this is very hard to do. And if you don't balance it correctly and get ahead of it, and so you got to learn your limitations. We still have family time, we need time with our wife, kids. We have things that come up just like everyone else, and you got to keep going and doing this, and
I think that 3-letter word, that yes word, gets a lot of makers in trouble, at least at the beginning, until they learn to either say no or temper expectations, handle it in a different way, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And hey, I hate telling people no. It's awful. You know what I mean? But I've been there, and it's very stressful, So
yeah.
I have it down now, though. We have a nice balance. I still work a lot, but I make sure when I'm coming in, I spend quality time with my kids, and it's
you
all
quality time. Shut it off.
Yeah, sort of.
So it's just in you. I mean, 30 to 50 pieces a week is a lot.
Yeah.
Is in terms of like the shop as a business, do you see hiring someone, or like where's the next step with that?
So when we were discussing for 9 months going full time, we said that if we're going to do this, we need to eventually turn it into a full functioning machine shop where we are making parts for other people, that we're not relying just on my work. I want to do my work for the rest of my life, but it's, you have a lot of ups and downs, and it's scary, and you got bills. So our goal from day one has been to one day have a full function machine shop. Whether that's 4 employees or 40, you don't know, right?
Right.
So we bought our first CNC. We bought our second one 2 years ago. Huge investments for
a small shop, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we haven't had no help. Neither one of us grew up with money. Nothing like that. It's if you think it's unattainable with no help, you're wrong. You can do this.
Yeah.
I just want to tell the guys and gals, it may look like now we have everything and we got it made and it was perfect given to us. No, we have struggled. Yeah. So you can do it though, But anyways, right now I do have my buddy. He's a programmer. He comes over twice a week and teaches me. He has been since we got the first machine, and been teaching me programming and stuff and CAD. I've learned a lot. I've tried about 4 or 5 different friends to do. I didn't realize this, but profiling a piece on a sander is a skill. I thought you just hold it there and everyone can do it. And I've talked to other makers now, and that's the number one thing they can't find someone to do in their shop. If you got this pry edge and you need to hold it dead parallel perfect, and it's I thought it was, I guess I just became a natural at it, but it's not. So that part's hard to find somebody. We've done the math in our head, and once we have 4 machines running, producing all the time, then we can hire just a machine operator to swap them parts out as they run. They don't have to be a programmer, but right now I do it. I'll start the machines while they're running. I'll come over here and sand other pieces. You know, I'm doing it back and forth the whole shop. But one day, when we get our fourth machine is our plan, you know, and our goal is to get a new machine every year. That's probably not going to happen, but you got to set your goals high, right?
Yep.
Now, last year, yeah, last year we didn't because we moved and we bought a 50-watt fiber laser last year.
Okay.
So last year we didn't get a machine. And this year, we're not even sure right now.
You just got a different kind of machine.
Yeah. But to us, that's an unattainable goal, a new CNC every year. But you got to set at least some kind of goal. So listen, if it stayed like how it is now forever, I'm completely content. If I can provide for my family and make a living and do this, but at the same time, we hopefully grow and plan to grow, and you know.
And am I right that you do all your like t-shirts and stuff as well? They're there?
No, when we first started, my wife did. She bought like an industrial heat press and vinyl cutter and did all that. But now we have a local, another small mom and pop place like a mile away.
Nice.
I don't know if some people appreciate it, but some people don't. It don't matter to them. But we try to stay local as much as we can. I do not call around the country for the cheapest price shirts. I don't call around for the cheapest price patches. You know what I mean? Like, I'm supporting someone here local. It may be a little more, but the difference is I can drive over there and say, hey, what's this? Why is this like this? Or let's do it this way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We have the things I don't make in house. I try to use small home time makers. You know, we have another maker, Will Baker, make our Hanks. My patches are made in Ohio, which is rare to get, you know. We get our shirts done a mile away. I can go on and on, but we really try to stay local. My metal supplier is about 25 minutes away. It's just him and his wife and one employee for about 25, 30 years now. They've had their business, I think.
Nice.
And I tell them the metals I need and what sizes, and they get them, cut them, and drop them off to my house. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome. So I try to do a lot of stuff local and things like that.
I think that's especially when you become someone, I'm sure you have people all the time asking like in the EDC community, hey, can I make this for you? Hey, use this resource, that resource. It's commendable to keep it local, because I think that's ultimately how we kind of grow is from the inside out, and keeping it local, community, state, etc., region, that kind of stuff.
Yep. It works good.
So where do you sell all of your things? We mentioned the Facebook group, but where do you sell your things? Like, are there
all
dealers?
On Facebook.
All on Facebook.
So I did get my first dealer last year at Blade Show.
Okay.
Another small mom and pop business. They do have a physical store. It's called Hellacious, and it's a small. I don't want to say small, but it is a starter relationship for me with a dealer.
Okay.
It's not huge amounts, just small batches here and there, which is perfect for me because I don't want to start with some big company and get overwhelmed. I probably grow slower than I should, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I get my head wrapped around everything. I don't make any mistakes that way.
You have had the questions from the big dealers. I'm sure you've gotten those calls, those emails, those approaches.
Yeah, like the last 3 years at Blade before last year, I'd have dealers ask me to wholesale, and I would always say, no, I'm not set up for that. Like, I just make the stuff at home, and that, and last year was the first year I said yes to somebody, but it's, the first year of Blade, I don't know if I should even tell this story. Probably be all right. But
Probably not.
me and my wife were sitting at our hotel across the street from Blade waiting for our Uber. And this guy on the bench started asking some stuff. And I showed him my moon balls.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a big, heavy round bead, but copper. And he was like, yeah, we didn't know who he was. Just, and he's like, could you make 1,000 of those, And I'm like, no. Like, it takes me like hours to make one. I don't, we were part-time still. And he pulls out his card, and he was the owner of Jantz. And he goes, if you can make 1,000 of those, I'll buy them. But me and my wife went back to our room that night and discussed it. And I had a full-time job. She had a full-time job. We did it part-time, kids. There was no way. And we had to go over there and tell them we couldn't take it on, But I'm glad that we said no. You got to know when to, get in over your head.
Sure. Sure.
And
a lot of people would have chased that dollar and said yes.
If he said that today, deal. But,
Hey, kids, let's go. We got to get out in the shop tonight. Let's go.
Yeah. But I would rather make the right decisions and go slow.
Yeah.
And people say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Well, to us, even though it's slow, to us, it's fast. Right. I mean, we got our first CNC 2.5 years ago, another one 1.5 years ago, like now a laser, like we're progressing. Yep. We're moving, and I'm slowly being able to make more and more product and stuff like that. So,
but you primarily, if someone's new here, to buy a Ryan Forbes copper shed piece, they have to go to the Facebook group.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No website. What about you have a website, right?
No website. Okay. You know this, Eugene. Oh wait.
Listen.
Wait.
I know that, but hopefully we've got people so captivated that they're like they're wanting to know where it's at, and I think it's important. I want to make sure that you're supported. Everyone that I know that tunes in on Sunday Fun Day, which you call it, is like they're almost like hitting refresh at their desk. Like,
so I'll tell you the good sides and the downsides, but we do have a website now. We got it set up last year. We just haven't. I usually don't have stock to sell. See, that's the problem. Like, I've had customers be like, "Why don't you put it on a website?" And I said, "Okay." I know bigger makers than me who would sell out on their Facebook group like that, like crazy. They switched to a website, and then they would announce, hey guys, at 4 p.m. this Friday, these are going up. Well, guess what? They're gone in seconds, and people are back in the group complaining. But what I'm getting to is it's not Facebook or the website. The issue is the lack of how much I could make.
Right.
Same with them. So I don't have any stock to sell on a website usually. So whatever I can make, as much as I physically can make every week, goes up for sale in my group every Sunday afternoon at 4:30. The good sides of it, though, so you can't just contact me and order, and I know that sucks. But, I'm not like a big box store. See, they want the uniqueness of the product, but they want the ease of like mass-produced sold at Walmart, and it just can't do it, But the good side is every Sunday for 8 years, every Sunday at the same time, consistently, are the sales. You know what I mean? And people just set their alarm for 4:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and go to the group. And so there's always another chance over and over. Some makers only do drops every couple months.
Right.
Some makers have books for knives that are backlogged 3 years, and you can't get nothing. With me, though, you can get. I'm not talking bad about them at all, because that's also business. That's also
it's a business
financial
choice.
Security for them too.
Sure.
Which I don't have like that. It sells week to week. But the good thing is every week is another chance, and a lot of them have told me the fun of it, the fun it
Yeah.
brings them. So if you don't look at it negatively, that, oh, I can't just go click on a link and buy it,
No.
but you look at it that, hey, you're still getting, a small homemade piece, small batches, and so far it works though, and it works good and everything. So now we did start the website. So we said if we ever get to a point where we have extra product, then we'll put on there. It will happen.
Check his
It will
website.
happen.
Check his website.
Yeah, but what's
So
happening too is like the more I'm getting efficient
yeah.
and the more I'm making, the more it's selling out in the group. So
Okay. That's
I'm
a good
making,
problem to have.
yeah, like I may be making twice as much product as I was 2 years ago, but it's still gone every Sunday,
Nice.
And so I still don't have leftovers sometimes, is how it works. But
Are you planning how do you so we have the website, or sorry, we have the Facebook group, and then you do shows. What shows do you do, and then how do you figure out how much to bring, and how do you put that kind of into the production schedule?
so the shows are really hard on our family.
Yep.
Um, a month or two before the show, my kids don't get to see me much. I'm out here working late because now I got to do my regular sales to pay bills, and I got to start making extra for the show.
Yeah.
And it is hard. So I do 4 a year.
Okay.
I can't take on anymore. People say, why don't you go here, there? And then on top of that, I'm leaving my wife with our 3 young boys while I'm gone. It's just, it's hard. So, yeah. But again, you got to find the balance and know what you can do and what you can't do. And these
So
4 shows are the max. So I do Spirit of the Blade show in Troy, Ohio, every first week in March. And if you can make it out, there is a lot of people from the EDC communities there. So, mind you, I said the shows are hard. I would never stop doing them, though. I love hanging out with people, and it's awesome, and you got to do it,
yeah.
Then I do Blade Show Atlanta,
Okay.
the main Blade Show,
Beginning of June.
at beginning of June every year. And then I do, which I consider a show but I do my Copper Shed meet and greet the first week in August every year. And this is our 7th year doing it, and it grows every year. Last year, I think we had like 140 people. I let makers set up tables. We had a live band. We provide all the food, drinks. We had water slides for the kids, bounce houses, a reptile show. That's a lot to put on for us. Yeah, probably even more than me going to a show. And then I do Kilby's Crash the Compound in Miamisburg, Ohio, every first week in October.
Nice.
And I would love to do more, but this just, again, I got to balance things, and we have it balanced real good right now. So
yeah, no, that I think once you find that balance, it's hard to press more and find where that empty space is, and because there's only 24 hours in a day.
And we've only found our balance by making the wrong decisions. That's how is because so we push ourselves, but where you pushed yourself too far.
Sure.
Yeah. If you're financially, emotionally, and physically drained from something, which I guess I could say that every day, we are a little bit, but you know what I mean? When you go too far, you got to decide, how can I keep doing this? A lot of makers don't, for what they make, for that side of things, whether it's full-time or part-time, it's very easy to neglect your health.
Yep.
Your wife, your kids. It's very easy to do that. Your mental health, it's very easy. And I've been through all of it, and it's more prominent than people realize, because we don't want to go on and complain about our
Yeah.
issue. You know, we're just
So
supposed to do our job, and that's it.
so if a new maker comes to you and says, "Hey man, you've been in this, you seem really happy. You're always showing videos of you guys like camping and doing these things. I feel like my whole life is this list or these customs that I'm making." What's your advice to makers in terms of that? Like, how do you
So
find the balance?
first off, I help out makers all the time. I love it. I will tell them what I can. Um, More so with dealing with that kind of stuff instead of making stuff, because I'm not trained. I taught myself. But anyways, most of them know more than me about making stuff. But when it
As you
comes
guys can
to
see, Ryan's very modest.
no, but when it comes to family life and balancing things and their mental health, I call me up, man. I've had guys call me and I've hardly talked to and said, "Hey, I need help, man. My wife's not on board with what I do. She hates it." And things like that. Call me up. Now, what works for me ain't going to work for everybody, and I know that, and vice versa. But all I could do is say things I've been through and what I've learned. But um, what I would say, oh, there's so much, and it almost needs to be based on their situation, you know, like exactly what's going on. But you do, if you have a family, you do have to get them on board to do this.
Right.
You can't constantly fight back and forth that, hey, you want to do this for fun as a side project. It's fun. It's stress reliever. You need a little extra money for the family. You know, you can't fight that and then also fight your family not wanting you to do it. But it doesn't mean you have to stop.
Right.
You just have to work on that, and you have to concentrate on that and realize it's a problem, I would say, and figure out how to fix it for your situation, if that makes sense. You know?
Did you figure these things out because you kind of like eased in part-time, like even less than part-time, and then kind of took that step over a year or so to go full-time?
Um, I never thought of it that way. I maybe, but I feel like I've learned to balance it and pay attention to things because I've made the mistakes and was in points over the last 8 years where I was mentally drained or was neglecting my family, but I was able to catch it
Right.
and figure out what to do to fix it,
Right.
you know? And you you got to be on board with everybody in your family and figure out a nice compromise, and that's what we've done. And it's very important. I don't think people think of this stuff sometimes. They just think I got to go make this stuff, but it's way more to it, you know. And there's a lot of makers who've come and gone, and I know it's because they couldn't find that balance, and it's stressful, you know.
Yeah. I
And
think sometimes I'm of the mindset, if you can't like imagine it happening, right, then you can't really plan for it or get ready for it. And that goes down to goals too, right? So if you don't have the goal of having a machine every year, then you're not really going to think about the work that it's going to take to get there monetarily, space, so on and so forth.
correct.
So if you
Yeah.
can't see that getting overwhelming, then it might sneak up on you.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So
I would tell a maker, I don't know everything and I may not help them, but give me a call because I need to hear your personal situation to just try to apply some of my experiences to your
and
situation.
you'll take those calls and
Oh
you'll
my gosh,
spend that
dude.
time.
You can call me at the middle of the night, wake me up. I don't get mad at all. I mean, not just for help if someone's struggling, and I mean it, brother.
Yeah.
Some people say that. We post up, hey, reach out for help if you're struggling, if you're, not feeling right. Dude, you can call me at 3 in the morning. and I'll wake up and talk to you for an hour if you're having a rough time. But besides that, I veered off. Yes, I am all up for that. And makers can message me and say, hey, when you got time for a call? And I love to help out there. If anything, if I can help, one person with something out of, 50, man, I'd be happy,
One of the things I've noticed over the last 8 years or so is that you are committed to raising money for different causes. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys do, and do you do it at like certain times? I mean, I've seen you do lives where you're like go to Walmart and hand out $100 bills for
Yeah.
people and help them in that way.
Yep. You know, I guess there'd be more into that why we do it. We know why we do it. I mean, you got to
Oh
give
yeah,
back, doing a little good. But we try to do a fundraiser every 3 months, and on average, we've probably been able to raise and donate about 20,000 a year, every year for the past few years.
that's awesome.
Lower numbers before that, and we're up to around 20,000 a year right now. So if we do, let's say, 4 a year, two of them we may pick an organization that's reputable, where we just PayPal them the money, which is great.
Yeah,
Autism, cerebral palsy. um, the other one of those four, we will try to maybe do something for, and this just happens sometimes. You don't plan this, but let's say a regular member of the EDC community, or not even regular, but just a person of the EDC community or a member of our group having a hard time.
right.
We had a member, they lost their house, I think in the storms down there in Florida,
Okay.
and we went and started a fundraiser that week and raise as much money as we can and send it to them. So we try to do a person, or we did. We don't try to do all local because it's we want to. Everyone's from all over the world helping. We like to donate it to big organizations, but once in a while, like my wife has a place in her heart for foster children, and so we did a local foster place. They help out children one time, and then every Thanksgiving is our big one. We do a Thanksgiving GCR, and that stands for Good Cause Raffle.
Yep.
So you pay $1, and it gets you a spot to win prizes, and then all that money adds up, and at the end we draw winners for the prizes that I made and put up. And I think, so what we do is for the Thanksgiving GCR on Thanksgiving morning, me and my wife and my 3 boys load up in the car and we drive around town and we hand out the cash to random people while
Awesome.
we're live in the group. And I think last year it was just this Thanksgiving was $9,000. And the year before that was 8,500, which was our record. And I thought we wouldn't beat that. And then I think it was 9,000 this year. So we just drive around and pull up and say, hey, we're handing out cash for Thanksgiving. Here you go. And pull off, and just real quick, in and out. And I've had a lot of members tell me that they sit down with their family every Thanksgiving and put that on the TV and watch that live. And that's amazing to me,
That's impactful.
Yeah.
And that's giving back in a way that is a little bit different than most. But not many makers share their success like you have. Is it because you sympathize with those in need, or is it just something that you feel like in your heart you want to do?
Well, both. I mean, I grew up in rough neighborhoods in California. We didn't have a lot of money, and even when me and my wife were first young and had our first house, you're struggling
Yep.
every week to get gas money. I mean, we've been through the struggle, and pay bills and man, some of the things I've been through, I'm just so it's hard to get me down. I'm pretty positive now because of some things I've been through, and I'm just happy about life, man. It might make some people sick that I'm so happy that, they're not happy, but I wasn't always like that, and I
Yeah.
even went through a severe bout of depression in my young 20s. So when I have people who have an issue, I've been there, you
Yeah.
know, and so I can relate when I talk to them. I know what it's like to where the smallest little task seems like a molehill,
Yeah.
and you can't even get up to uh, get a, whatever, make a sandwich. It's just, who could even think about going to get the mail or paying a bill? Like, I've been there. It's hard. But listen, me and my wife have both worked hard to get where we're at. And my
Right.
wife is a hard worker, man. And who knew when you meet a woman, and you fall in love that one day she's going to be a hard worker like you? You don't know that, It's just,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. She works hard and I work hard. But at the same time, even though we've worked hard and made some stupid, risky chances that have paid off, we still don't feel like we deserve what we have, you
Gotcha.
know?
Yeah.
And to me, though, that money we raise is all our members' money, raising that,
Right.
donating. I mean, we're facilitating that and helping that,
Sure.
but it's the least we could do. And, we want to help more, and hopefully that grows into more. We were just talking the other day. We try to do one every 3 months, and it's time now to do another, fundraiser. So, but I don't know. How can you come from nothing and attribute everything you have to your hard work? I just don't. It's hard for me to say we deserve what we have now, and we got to give back.
I think the more what I found is the more you give back, whether it's not just monetarily, but like your time, your experiences,
Yeah,
helping people in a variety of different ways. I think the more you're open, you're to get. Like I think you just giving back is kind of a sign of gratitude of where the universe or God has
yeah.
put you.
Listen, I don't want to have any regrets when I'm older, and I don't have any now. The things I've been through and things I did as a punk kid, I still don't have any regrets. It's made me who I am. But if I do this the wrong way, listen, all of us are 3 months away from poverty just by bad circumstances, right?
Sure, yeah,
They
pretty
say.
quickly. It could happen, yeah.
And if one day I fail, let's just say, I mean, I plan on working my butt off and building back up if I fail. But if I fail, at least I look back and did it the right way and
Sure,
honorably. If I didn't do that and failed,
yeah,
man, how
yeah,
horrible would you feel? And I'm not
pretty bad.
saying you're going to feel horrible if you don't donate money. I'm talking about lots of other things.
No, yeah, no,
Uh,
I think
but
it can be more than monetarily.
yes, yes. But I want to have no regrets, and I want to help people if they message me at 3 a.m. and they have a major issue and they just need to talk to somebody. It don't bother me at all.
No, yeah,
I can see some people getting out of bed. Oh man, I gotta call this guy. Call me, man. We've all done without sleep before for other
yeah,
reasons. I'd much
yeah,
rather
true.
it be for something like that,
Yeah,
and now they well, we'd be veering off, but people who are struggling think that we say that and we don't mean it and we don't want to
nope,
hear their problems. But you
100.
guys, we do, seriously.
I
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you're right, man. It's yeah. I mean, you gotta. I've become a lot more vocal in terms of telling people that I will help them out, because sometimes they just want someone to listen to or
yeah,
give a little guidance. Not everyone has friends or family or a father or a mother to kind of
yeah,
give them guidance. But I wholeheartedly mean it as well.
yeah.
If you need
And
help, call,
yeah, and here's what I've
email,
learned
text.
too. Here's what I've learned in my life. We look at somebody Like, I look at you and I'm like, this guy's got it all together. He ain't ever been through hard times, but guess what? I know you've been through hard times.
Yeah.
We all have.
Yeah.
But people see someone and they just because we choose not to put our hard times out there, I have hard times, man. I cry, but I don't put it out there. So no one knows, So they may think, oh, Ryan's never been here.
He's
Eugene's
always
never been here.
smiling.
Dude, everyone has been through struggles. And I've learned that now, And so they can relate. People can relate. Whatever you're going through, you have no idea, what they've been through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good that you put yourself out there. I think there's not enough people that do. And I think ultimately it brings us closer as a society, letting people know that you're there for them, even if just verbally. So your kids see all this hard work. They see all your giving back. What do your kids think of Copper Shed and their dad? Like how do they view what you're doing? Like, oh, my dad just plays in the garage.
I think that's really hard to say for sure, right? What they think. But what I think
he has 3 boys, right?
3 boys. 11, 9, which my 9-year-old will be 10 this Wednesday. 2 days. And a 3-year-old. I think that at this point now, they know that it's not normal.
Okay.
That your dad runs a business out of his house full time. They realize that now. And they realize, man, they're good boys. I'm so lucky, dude. They realize what we're doing and why we're doing it. So if they come and say, Dad, can we, play ball tonight? And I say, I can't, son, but I explain to them, I go, why I'm doing this, right? Like I will take, what, I don't do that all the time. I don't, I make sure I spend quality time.
We already talked about the balance, and we know that you have that, but at that particular time.
Yeah, but they understand it. I'm like, why I'm doing this, and they get it, and they don't feel bad because then I go and I make sure I take the next night off with them, and I make sure I spend quality time with my boys, and so I don't think they feel neglected, at all. And when they do start to, I can tell before them when they need time with me. I can just feel it, how they're acting. And I'll tell my wife, hey, tomorrow night or Wednesday night, I'm taking off at 5 and I'm going to spend the night with them. And so I make sure I'm on top of it. I'm paying attention when they need time. And then in the summer months, we camp every weekend. Oh. So I may have to work all day and night to be able to do that. And they're okay with that because Friday night comes, we go to camp and we don't come home till Sunday morning and we have a blast at camp,
Nice.
So I think they understand it and they get it. And, they know most of their friends' dads go to jobs, they know the difference. And
for the longest time, I didn't know that the normal work schedule was only 40 hours because my mom never worked 40 hours and my stepdad never worked only 40 hours. And my actual father, 100% commission for my whole entire life, never worked just 40 hours. So it's you kind of see them leading by example. And I'm like, well, you need money. Well, just go work more.
Oh, yeah. Right? They say the same thing. Yeah, just go to the bank, Dad. Of course, I tell them, the better you do in school, you ain't got to work like me, which we all do, right? But I just tell them not to give them false hope.
So here's the question. It's you have a 11-year-old. It's another 7 years. They graduate high school. And they want to start their own business and they want to be part of Copper Shed or they want to start their own thing. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna recommend that they do?
Between the two?
Well, no, I'm just saying, how do you feel right now about that situation? Are you going to going to give them the boost? So, the example that I have recently is we just started taking our kids to martial arts, and the
Okay.
guy that's running the martial arts is only like 19 or 20, and I
Okay.
met his mom, and I was like, so this seems family owned and operated. And it, yeah, that it is.
Yeah.
Our son, Gavin, wanted to open up his own studio. So instead of sending him to college, we gave him his own martial arts studio.
I think that every kid is different, first
Yep.
off. We know if
Yep.
you have more than one kid, it's amazing how different they are
True.
when they grew up in the same house. So you got to go kid by kid. Man, I would say ain't no 20-year-old ready for their own business. Oh my God. I think you gotta struggle and be beat down at a job for 10 years first, if you ask me. And then even then you could still make mistakes on your own business, right? Like,
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's awesome. Maybe one of my kids, again, they're all different. And maybe at that age, their personality and the way they handle things doesn't mean they can't do it. But I would think they need to work, for a while, 10 years or so. And whatever they want to do, as long as they do something,
Yeah.
I'll support them. Right now, my 9-year-old is he is just like me. He takes stuff apart to see how it works, like electronic stuff when I was a kid. He's out here in the shop. And besides me making sure he's safe, right, with the power tools or whatever, and knowing he knows how to hold something or do something device, I let him just grab stuff and do whatever. He don't even know what he's doing. He'll drill. Hey, Dad, can I use this? I say, yeah. He'll drill a hole in something, put a pin in it. He's just. I don't show him.
Yeah.
As long as I make sure he's safe, he's just playing around with things. Just silly. It may not even do that. And he puts a rod in here, and then he's not making anything really, but he's really interested in this. But you just never know. How's he gonna feel
Sure.
in 8 years? Maybe he doesn't want nothing to do with this. So I don't hold my breath for none of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, man, maybe by the time in 8 years, what if I had 30 CNC machines and lathes and we have a full machine shop, and then he can go to school for machine programming,
Yeah.
CAD
True,
work.
True.
So my mind's open to it, but I'm not going to be disappointed if none of them want to continue this on. Just because I've seen families with lots of kids and none of them wanted to continue on with the family business. So it happens. I think it would be awesome. I mean, oh my gosh, right? It'd be amazing if they continued on with this, But even then, maybe it would just be they wouldn't continue on with the art aspect of it like I am, but they would still have a machine shop to run, So we'll just see what happens, just plug it along.
So your 9-year-old's into it, almost 10. What about your 11-year-old? Just into different
No,
things?
my 11-year-old now is like more academic, more. He comes home and reads books for fun. Complete
Nice.
opposite of me. I can't learn nothing from a book. I have to be hands on. He is more. He was in a spelling bee school spelling bee. He just did the trivia,
Okay.
the quiz bowl, like they do against other schools. He's more academic, and he has lost interest in working out here. So that's all right.
Yeah.
Fine with me. He's just different, and see what happens. But again,
Nice.
he could be the one who goes to school for CAD and CAM and wants to work in the family business. And
He'll be the book. He'll be the book side of it.
yeah, you never know. They can change so much over teenage years.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
yeah.
So where's Coppershed going? Like, I know you're on a trajectory. You do the Sunday fun days. You have the 4 shows, but you guys talk about the future, and is there any big developments that are going to be happening the rest of this year?
So we also said that we could never hire a full-time person until my wife was able to work full-time for the business.
Okay.
And just last summer, my wife was able to leave her job of 17 years. Woo. Full-time job. So again, we took another scary risk of losing her income, right? Which was always a backup. I think people don't realize the scary risks involved in growing, you know?
Yeah, oh, sure.
So we took, we've been talking about it for years, and it's never the right time, right? For your wife to lose her income or an income in your household. It's never the right time. It's always this. And then finally last summer, I was like, you know what? It's never going to be the right time. It never. Just do it, and we'll just make it work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but she did it, and it's been working. And, we still have our 3-year-old who's home. He just started preschool, but she's a hard worker, and so she's helping me more now. As I used to go to the post office, I don't do that no more. If I got to go get supplies, she'll go get it for me. Lots of things she's helping with the business more. So, and more on the paperwork side too. And so that was a major step for us that we're still adjusting to.
Sure. Right?
Because now all of a sudden you lose an income, which was pretty good too. She was there 17 years. She had 2 degrees. Like, scary, but so we're still adjusting to that now. Okay, now we have to live without that. But now we slowly grow again, basically. Okay. So, but we never felt like we wanted to hire someone full time unless she was already first.
Right.
So to us, that's a huge step accomplished.
Sure.
Huge step. Now it opens the gates to move forward. And so right now, we're going to try to do an addition on my shop this year to make more room for a CNC next year. So instead of buying a CNC now and I can barely walk in here, we'll do the addition this year and then another CNC next year. I still want to keep going with my dealer, hopefully, a little bit. It's not huge amounts, but it still helps, Yep.
What about other dealers?
Not yet.
Okay.
But
because and this is why I ask, and this is why I think it's a possibility, because you make interesting products that sell. We already know that. You have a large, I would say it's a pretty large presence at the Blade Show. You don't just have 1 or 2 tables, but you have.
We have a booth. We have a corner booth now,
Corner booth. That's pretty big, and that garners a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So
here's what I'd like to do. Would be nice, but again, you can't count on nothing. So I'm going to count on just keep plugging along, chipping away. But here's what I would rather do instead of having a dealer sell my stuff, because I still want to keep my stuff, unique.
Yeah.
And people are proud to have it, and it's not just mass produced everywhere. But here's what I'd like to do. Maybe. And I thought about maybe making some and sending them out. But I would love for a business to come to me and say, we want you to design a bottle opener that has our name on it, but you produce it, and we could say these are made in America, small time company, but it's our design, it's our name on it, but they're made here, right? I can't keep up with my own ideas. It's like I have a list of things I thought of 2 years ago. I just can't get to I can think of stuff, but let's say instead of that it says, Shadow Warriors
Sure.
or Hellacious, but I design it where it's different for that company. And that's just the one kind, but then they have their own bottle opener. It don't say Copper Shed. I mean, unless they wanted it to, but it would say their business name, right? And or whatever. I just came out with a cigar ashtray.
Yeah.
What if I have a cigar company who says, "Hey, I want 1,000 of those, but put our name on it," right? Well, here's what I would happen. Okay, half down, I'll buy myself another machine, CNC machine, just to run yours nonstop, right? But you can't count on that stuff happening either.
But you're open to the idea of those things and those
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yes. I'd rather, well, that's also like right now, if my business slowed down, we are in a position to make parts for other companies. I mean, I only got 2 machines, but so that to me is a little bit of job security.
Sure.
I'm still not where I want to be. I want recurring customers, whether we're making brackets for a washing machine over here, but still doing my stuff. But that stuff's job security, But
Gotcha.
technically, if we slowed down now, I can do that. So I'm getting there to that, job security, but I'm not there yet.
I think there's that opportunity to, I mean, you can call it whatever you want, whether it's, third party or, whatever you want to call it, doing it for other makers. I think that there's that opportunity out there because I think that, and this as a maker, you've had experiences with vendors that were less than awesome.
Mhm.
And people are looking for, mid-tech companies.
Yeah. I mean, who knows, like I said, what it could be, like I said, a cigar company wants a cool copper cigar ashtray that you can't get made in America because their customers like, $50, $100 cigars and they would love this with their name on it or whatever, or a bourbon company. Yeah. There's a lot of companies out there who would still love to offer that to their customers and say it's made in America by a small home, family run business. And so you never know. Some of those things
if
could be
you're out
game
there,
changers.
you need to make these opportunities happen.
Yeah. I mean, I've been around a long time. I think most people know that I'm not going anywhere, that I will roll with the punches and adapt. And I'm a hard worker. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And if I got a job like that and I went to my kids and said, "Hey, guys, we have to sacrifice 3 months. You're not going to see me." Like, I know it sounds crazy, but people have sacrificed more for their family, to grow. And if I said I got to go out here and work 20 hours a day to get this job done, which will buy us another CNC, which is for our future. I know, I mean, I'm exaggerating to a point, but I have my balance, but I also will hustle and we will turn it up when we have to. And we do it every day, but we almost live on the verge of a mental breakdown, if that makes sense. But we know where the edge is, right? Because we passed the edge. So we know how to live right there in that sweet spot. And that's what pushes us and we thrive at. And it works good,
Sure. No. Yeah, I think that there's an opportunity out there. It's about finding those opportunities and letting people know that you are ready or you're willing to do those things, and they see the quality of your work. And we kind of had this conversation the other day, is the potential customer pool to me is really small. Even if you look at something like the Blade Show, the world's largest knife show, they don't even market to anyone outside of our bubble.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Yeah, if people think the communities are slow or dying, no. There are millions of people out there across this world who would love to be in our communities and love what we do, but they know nothing about it yet.
Nope.
So it's going to grow.
I
It's going
think
to
that there's a
grow.
lot
They
of
can say it's not no more, but it's going to grow.
I think
You
there's a
know?
lot of potential. There's a lot of people who are spending money on things that would love to spend money on things like you produce that don't know
Yeah,
that they actually exist.
yeah.
You
Um,
know, custom car guys, motorcycle guys, gun guys, you know, all those guys have they appreciate a handmade item. They
yeah,
appreciate those things, but they don't know. Just like I've heard
yeah,
this over and over again, and if you actually listen, you'll hear it. Like this addiction started when a friend bought it for another friend, and then that
yeah,
person is their biggest customer,
yeah, yeah.
or whatever.
Um, Two things. Well, one thing I really wanted to touch on, though, we're talking about me making parts for other companies or designing a piece that's just for them with their name on it. Uh, my group and my members will never come second place to none of that.
Yep. You've shown
Never.
that.
And
You've
listen to
shown
me.
that.
Mark my words, Eugene. Over the years, I have heard makers say, I can't wait I'm going to get a deal with so and so. I don't like talking to people. Listen, my group members are what made me who I am today, and I will never forget that. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen,
Sure.
they appreciate what I do, work late, work hard, make sure that my finishes are top notch, the best I could do, and I appreciate them. You know what I mean? For the shares, the likes, um, wanting to buy my product and getting my family to where I'm at today. I will never neglect them. I could have people working in my shop sanding stuff for me. I will never have someone answer my social media though. I will
No.
never take that out of the aspect is me. And that is maybe a burden to some. Like, oh,
Yep.
you got to do that the rest of your life? Yes, I do. Because those members have made everything I have. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And
No, and I think you realize that when someone buys something from Coppershed in Sunday Fun Day, that they're buying a piece of you and your family.
yeah, my members directly get to see what their support does. They literally get to see me raise my family. They know the indirect connection. I'm buying this piece from him, which I love. I'm not just, but I get to see that go to make his family grow. And you
Yeah.
can't do that in some businesses. But in my business and with the social media, and I post up videos and pictures, they directly get to see that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, all them deals, and if they ever come along, I will never neglect my group, and Sunday Fun Days come first. You know, I won't say, oh, I can't do Sunday Fun Day for 3 weeks because I got this big order. No, the big order is going to have a longer deadline. That's all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think that that's important. I think that you realize that it's a part of Coppershed. Like it's
Yeah.
important, you know, and
Yeah.
it, even though from a business standpoint, I'm like, take on the dealers, sell
You
on your
know.
website, all this kind of stuff. I like that you keep it familiar, you keep it family oriented, you
Yeah.
kind of you keep it there.
We
It's
we have
admirable.
both seen makers over the years who were at the top, and it changed them,
Yep.
and they changed how they did things, and it ruined everything.
It's pretty crazy that um, you see a lot of maybe the mainstream doesn't really care about some of the things that we're talking about that we care about, because some of those companies are still selling knives and still doing crazy stuff and still like
Yeah.
doing stuff that they said that they would never do. And they're
Yeah.
still selling knives?
Well, I
Or
mean like small makers who aren't around anymore
oh, sure.
because they
Absolutely.
changed.
Yeah.
Fame is dangerous and stressful, man.
Yeah.
Telling you, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not. It's not good.
Right.
That's why one thing I don't want to grow too fast because I want to adapt slowly
Yeah.
with it. But
Yeah.
I'm just talking mainly about small makers like me who were doing great, and then
Well,
either they changed.
stop inviting people to your house.
Why?
I know, right? I know. No, it's a that's what I love about the community. That's what I love
Yeah,
about guys like you who came up in the community. You have an appreciation for it. You understand it. You understand that it is a community, and that people are buying a piece of you.
yeah,
And you want to try to stay original to that. And I think that that's
yeah,
it's admirable, and that's why
yeah.
I'll support you with whatever you do.
Thank
Period.
you, brother. Thank you.
Even if you resist the website for years and years and years.
Some makers I think feel threatened when a new maker comes up, and I love it because it's building our community.
Yeah.
Building the community
Well,
will
because
will
they
build
see
you.
they see the community through these lenses that
Yeah,
that it's this small microcosm. I see a lot of potential and a lot of growing of the community, which is important. I think do you stress in your group to add more people? Like, hey, regular customers,
you're
add.
gonna. You ready to be shocked right now? You ready? Because I do. Things are different here in the shed. I stopped advertising my group 6 years ago. So 6 years ago, you've never seen me share a link to my group, share my product in a group. Here's why. Uh, 6 years ago, my members were getting mad that I didn't have enough product, right? And every week it was selling out in seconds and not enough. And I'm like, man, I feel bad if I'm adding people every week.
Yeah.
And I don't have enough for my current members, right? So here's what happened. I stopped advertising 6 years ago. Never shared a link to my group or pieces even, right? And I'll go post a pocket dump in a EDC group with none of my stuff, But here's what's crazy. I get, on average, 150 members a month new without advertising consistently. I mean,
That's good.
for the first 3 years after I stopped advertising, so 6 years ago, I was getting about 100 members a month. Mind you, I'm not sharing it, but my members are
Sure.
sharing posts, pocket dumps with pictures of my work. I do have a Facebook business page, which I don't post. All I post there is every few months my recent work, and I put, hey, come join the group where all the action is. That's all I post there.
Sure.
And I can see when they come over through the business page. But so I don't even advertise my work, and now I get about 150 new members a month.
Nice.
And I don't want to grow. What if I advertised and in a month I had double 20,000 members? I wouldn't even know what to do with myself. It would be, and then people just say, well, what do you mean? Just make more. Well, it's not. I'm literally working till I fall over, right?
Yeah.
My hands are bloody, and you can't do it. And they're like, oh, and just hire someone. Hiring someone, your
Oof.
first employee, how
Good
do
luck
you
with that.
pay them? Here's what happens. You're doing good for a month, you can pay them, and then
Yeah.
you get slow.
Yeah.
Your guy has a family, you got to tell him you don't have work for him that week. you got to make sure for a while that you can afford an employee.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
solid. That's solid business ownership for sure.
yeah. Or just go buy another machine. Like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't got the money for that either. You know,
yeah, yeah.
but it's slowly. But they can't at the same time. Hey, he's doing good. He bought his first machine 2.5 years ago. He bought another one a year later. When you look at it that way, right? I am growing and adapting,
Right.
but I just can't do it like that, and
No,
that's
I like it. It's much more it's much more calculated than most people are. You're at least thinking about it. You're thinking about the future. You're
yeah,
planning for it in some way, shape, or form. You're not just toiling over there. And I appreciate that as someone who works with small business owners, because not a lot of people even take that step and even
yeah,
think about the future at all in any way, shape, or form.
yeah, yeah.
They're
No,
kind of just
yeah,
zombieing it through. So
yeah. If I fail my family. I fail my kids. There's more to this than what I mean. People
sure,
realize.
sure.
And I have friends like, "Oh, you're fine. You always sell out,
Yeah,
dude." That's not true.
yeah,
And it could take, one bad month. And I know that. I have to be on my game. You know what? I'll tell you, I haven't told many people. I think I've mentioned this once before or so, but uh, every week I'm making my stuff for 8 years now. And I am stressed all week saying, nothing, this isn't going to sell. Nothing's going to sell. I ain't going to be able to pay my bills this week. And my friends think I'm crazy. Are you crazy? It's always going to sell. It don't matter. It's stress, like anxiety. And
sure.
you know what though? It's a blessing and a curse, because boy does it suck to be sick to your stomach Friday and Saturday and Sunday morning that you're not going to be able to pay your bills because your stuff don't sell. But
Right.
you know where it's a blessing? Is that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? It keeps me making and doing the best I can.
That's
Because
awesome.
if I really thought everything would just sell no matter what if I got lackadaisical? What
Yeah.
if I didn't take the extra time to finish this like I would before? So it
Have
literally
something's got to be
drives me.
pushing you from behind, some kind of
Yeah,
inspiration, some
yeah.
kind
I
of
mean,
energy in the
yeah,
tank.
yeah. I mean, it drives me to do the best I can, but at the same time, it's trust that the anxiety at the end of the week, every week, even
Yeah.
though everything sells for 8 years, it don't get rid of it. I don't get rid of it, and I'm sort of glad I don't.
Wow.
You know?
I think that you're going great places. It's been awesome to see from that very first Shadow Warriors Russian
Yeah,
roulette,
yeah,
from that where you answered it like at work,
yeah,
and to see you come up, you've largely, I mean, in terms of the EDC community, you've been involved in like no drama at all. You really have had no issues in terms of like taking people's money and not delivering.
yeah.
I haven't heard anything bad at all.
Thank you.
So it's
I
a
worked
good
really
thing.
hard. Yeah.
Now, yeah, well, I think sometimes people think with one brain and not the other, or they're motivated by
Yeah.
one thing and not the other. Um,
Keep your circle. Your admins, makers, guys and gals, you don't need that maker that's hothead. You need the maker that tells you to sit down and shut up.
yeah.
And then say, don't say that, Ryan. You need the maker to keep you need the admins to keep you in your place, right, Eugene?
Yep.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
you need friends and people around you that are going to do that.
That have your best interest at heart, and stay out of all that stuff, because there is a lot of politics in any community, and there's a lot of politics in the EDC community, and yeah, you got to stay out of it. Don't take people's money up front. I know that's not easy for everybody, so I know it's easy for me to say, but it will save you a lot of issues. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. And I know you can't do that for custom metals, and I get that. But you know what I mean.
But by and large,
Um,
it should be an exception, not the rule.
and then on top of that, every maker will tell you the hardest piece that they ever had to make was the one that was already paid for 2 months ago. You know, the hardest knife they had to finish was the one that they got paid for 3 months ago and spent it on bills, and now they have to make it. It's just stressful for you, man.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you got to take the money, I get it. And there's certain reasons why. So you don't have people back out of things.
But we've
But
seen and heard of some horror stories.
yeah, but if you take your money and you're not ordering the material for a year from now, that's, it's going to be stressful on you. Yeah.
One of the craziest things I've ever heard was I took 300 pre-orders. I've spent all that money and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And they
Don't
haven't
do
even produced the first one. So
Yeah, I know.
Well, hey man, I appreciate you taking the time today. And is there anything you want to close with, or
Dude, you're awesome, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
But listen, I want to close with not EDC related, just life, man. We all have crappy lives. I mean, we all have crappy days, man. But you ain't gonna get through none of it unless you think positive.
Sure.
If you wake up thinking negative, you're already lost to the day. I know it's so easy to say, but you got to fight and struggle and just think about the good stuff of that day. And it's more than EDC. I'm talking about life, and as a person and as people, we all struggle, and just try to stay
positive makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. What was that saying? Oh my gosh. Stress about tomorrow already ruined your day today. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of making today great, you ruin today
by thinking about
tomorrow, and it's just a cycle.
So I read a quote this past weekend, something about don't worry about the past, leave that for time travelers, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not worth it. It doesn't really. It weighs on you more than you realize.
And listen, I get it. Before I was a positive person, when people would tell me stay positive, you know what I used to think? Oh, they never been through nothing. They never been through this.
Get out of here.
Right? But guess what? Now I learned the people who are telling you stay positive have been there.
Yeah.
And now they learned to remain positive, and that's why they're telling you. I used to think it was malarkey, but they were coming from experience.
Yep.
But that's it, man. Stay positive.
I appreciate you, brother, and thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you, brother.
I'll see you at Blade.
All right. Later. Bye, everybody.
All right. Take care.